So, Carl Fredrik, you just said that you don't need a digital strategy. You need a strategy for a digital world, which I totally agree with. However, I do think there are a number of things that precede the strategies, and that is finding out what your goal is and directing your company towards that. And that is basically what I'm going to talk to you about today. My name is Johan Åsman. I'm with BDO, and welcome to my kitchen today. For some reason, it doesn't work. So, briefly about BDO. BDO is an advisory and auditing company, and we have 4 different business areas: advisory, auditing, of course, which is our largest business area, tax, accounting, and we're situated mostly in the southern part or southern half of Sweden. So we have about 800 employees, and our turnover is about 800 million as well. A very international company, and we're situated in 130 countries. My background is dual, or in 2 parts. I have half of my career basically in large companies and large consumer brands. I started out in '93 with a company that is today called Essity, working with baby diapers. Worked with Swedish heart rye bread, and ended that era with taking care of West and Central Europe for Absolute Vodka. Before starting up my own company, the Enter company, working with marketing and sales and business development for major industrial companies such as Atlas Copco, but also working with family and partner-owned companies. That's where I have the most of my knowledge from SME, basically. Since 6 years, I'm a consultant, also focusing on SME, and since a year back, I'm with BDO. And what I do, I assist SME companies in achieving their goals, increasing revenue and profit, create sustainability and value for the owners. So basically, I create value for the owners. And in my job, this is probably one of the most important questions. Where are you today, and where do you want to go? In general, with your business. And one of the oldest companies, or the oldest relationships that I have, they wanted to go from 75 million to about 150 million in 7 years. So what does it actually take to make that trip from 75 to 150? As far as I'm concerned, that's a totally different company. It poses a lot of different demands on you, and a lot of different strategies and activities will have to be created, along with a change in the owner mindset, as well as the board, etc., all the way through the company. And with breaking up these questions, we tend to look at a structure such as this one. This is something I work with every day. In Swedish, we say äga, styra och leda. That's basically the owner structure, the board level, and the management level, where the owner level is extremely important when it comes to small and mid-sized companies. Because if the owner is unclear of the direction or what demands he poses on the organization, it becomes very difficult for the board or the management to do their real jobs. So we work a lot with owner plans that later go to the board so they know where what to work towards and what strategies to form. And they can pose demands on management in what activities to form that go towards the strategies in the board and the owner's wish on the top. So it becomes very simple, but at the same time, this is very complicated for many companies. So I talk a lot about the owner's plan and how important it is. And the owner's plan is a good guiding tool for the board and the general management of the company. And the work with these owner's plans, I would say, is the most rewarding in my job, and the plan that create the most value in these type of companies. And especially if you're several owners, and I think it's extremely important for you to be aligned, to think alike, or at least have a notion of what your partners think about when it comes to your company, your common company. And when I say aligned, I mean to the core. So you know what values you both share, what time frame are we looking at when it comes to the different owners? How long do you want to be a part of the company? When would you like to sell, if ever? To what company? What is driving you in being a part of this company? Etc., etc. Everything that has to do with you and the company, be it hard questions, financial questions, or more softer questions that has to do with you as a person or what you think. So I can't stress that enough. When you've actually performed the owner's plan, when you've put that together, when you're through with that process, that goes to the board and the management. And this is where the magic happens. And the board meets about once a quarter and takes decisions according to the strategy and poses demands on the management and the company. And the management is supposed to create the activities that go towards the strategy, that go towards the owner's wish. And this is really to manage the energy of the company. You can imagine what happens if the different owners have different views of what the company is all about and what demands you pose on the company, or what you believe how the company is supposed to be run, for example. So if you set up these fairly simple rules and this way of thinking through the company, this will create a whole lot of value. I know for sure. And if you look at it through the management levels, you start with the owner's plan, you go further, the board sets the strategic plan, the management, the business plan. The business plan is tops 1 year. Many companies have several different business plans over the year. Strategic plan about 3 years, and the owner's plan is like 5 to 7 years. And in Swedish, you say that you clean the stair from above. So you start with the owner's plan and go downwards. Many companies have a tendency to start with a business plan, and then the board sets some form of a strategic plan. But there's a lot to be won if you start from the very, very top. Then things become clear. And when we put these owners' plans or ägardirektiv together with the companies, what is then important? Well, first of all, we try to be quite structured when it comes to this document, because we think that this process creates a lot of value. But other than that, it's things like, what are your intentions with running the company in general? What are the different roles that we're going to have, the different owners? And this is a source of conflict if this is not clear. I've seen it a number of times in family-owned companies, especially, and I've worked probably totally a year with conflicts within families. Owner limitations and goals. Maybe you're different generations within the owners. I have children that can take care of themselves. Maybe there are other partners that have small children and will have to leave work at 4 o'clock in the afternoon to pick them up, whereas I can work all night if I want to. Is that going to pose any questions, or is that something we need to talk about? And different generations might also have different goals, which is also something that we should discuss. Of course, the financial issues are important. What do we expect from the company from year to year? What is the development that we want? What is the profit level that we want? When we sell, what numbers are we talking about then, etc. Values, of course. Do we share common values? And of course, a very, very important question. And personally, I also have experience from a situation where we didn't share values, and we couldn't continue as a team. Board work. How are we going to manage the company? Are we all going to be on the board, or do we have external input in the board? And how do we take decisions? And how do we build value over time? This is depending on how much we want to take out of the company every year. How fast are we going to be able to build this company? And of course, what are the ideas do I want to realize as a person by being a part of this company, being an owner in this company? So extremely important questions to discuss. And there are, of course, more to this. But I've been in situations where I've seen people saying that we've been working together for 10 years. We've been sharing the same desk for 10 years. We know everything about each other. And I'll tell you, that is never the case. And when you go through such a process, you will find out other things that you haven't spoken about that are important in this case. So what we're aiming to do is to take every owner's position, to find a common position. And when we've found this common position through our process of workshops and questionnaires and what have you, we find a common position, which we communicate to the board and to the management, and probably also to the rest of the company. Over time, we need to follow up and evaluate, but that doesn't happen every month. I might, we might look at this own business plan or owner's plan once a year, and we might evaluate and adapt every 3 years or so. If you're looking at buying these types of companies, I think the owner's plan or ägardirektiv is a very interesting part of a due diligence, because here you will find out quite a bit about how the present owners see the company. And most companies should have shareholder agreements. But I really do think that the owner's plan, the ägardirektiv, it's extremely complementary to the shareholders agreement. And I would argue that they're actually two sides of the same coin. And together they form something extremely strong for the owners and for the rest of the company, because it becomes very clear we don't waste any energy in driving this process and this company forward, which I think is very, very positive. And looking at the direction of the company and monitoring the company, when realizing our strategies, there are a number of things to look at besides the top square here. Of course, the different levels, the owner, board, and the management level, and the direction of these documents is important in setting up the vision, the goal, the strategy, and the business planning, the direction of the company. But when we look at the small and medium-sized segment, it's almost always things within the company that we definitely will have to look at. For example, in this example that I took early on, the company that was going from 75 to 150 million. Directly, we had to look at the financial management, the accounting, the reporting system. What can we actually get out of the system at this point? And there were things to be done. The next thing, marketing and sales. If you're going towards 150 million, you will have to double your sales over 7 years, which means that you probably have to have a totally different setup of customers, a totally different way of reaching these customers through marketing and sales. And you probably need the people for it. Production, you probably need to produce twice as much, probably different types of products, probably different segments. But this is an area where people are usually quite good. But also the running of the company in general, from day to day, with the people, the organization, the right people in the right place, processes for people to take decisions over time in the workplace, scorecards to tell you if you're in the right place at the right time over the year. Problem solving, helping each other within the company with short-term or mid-term or long-term problems, so that we don't lose any speed, but also delegating as far as we can in a growing company. And as Carl Fredrik would agree, digitalization will be a part of all companies in the future. And as Carl Fredrik told me the other day, that things will never go slower than they are today. Things will only get faster or go faster, which means that we need to tend to digitalization in general, also in these types of companies. If we get our directions aligned, if we have a clear vision, goal, and a strategy from the top, if we can see what to do more of, less of, if we have our marketing and sales in line, our production in line, and our day-to-day business aligned, if we're structured about all that, we have a tendency to reach a momentum where things take off, which is a wonderful state to be in, and something I work for every day with all my companies. And in general, I think this is doable in most companies. Why I think to start with the owner's wish, the owner's plan, is such an important start in starting such a journey. That's basically what I wanted to present to you today. And I'm open for any questions if you have.